Hello Stampers, this is Judy Anderson and welcome to my Happy Stamping Studio. Today we're going to be creating a card using the Hey Girlfriend stamp set for January to June mini catalog. Now this stamp set is going to be retiring at the end of June, so if it is the stamp set that you like, be sure to order it soon because they are while quantities last. So this is a stamp set with 12 cling stamps. It has some verses and 3 girl images as well as a little puppy and a little kitten. So here is the stamp set and I will show you. It's a cling mount stamp. We are going to be using this image of the girl with, you know what, I'm going to change it up. We're going to be using this image, the girl with the curly hair this time. It doesn't matter which you choose. They are all great, and we don't even need a block that is going to stamp the whole image because we won't be stamping the whole image. I am also going to be using the Expressions in Ink Specialty Designer Series paper found in our annual catalog. Now this specialty paper is filled with kind of like a watermark look watercolor, and it has gold foil within it, and it goes with 8 different colors, and I am going to tell you that I have even used it with some additional colors that aren't listed in the book. But if you love artistic type papers and artistic type projects, this is the specialty paper for you. I'm also using some of our vellum square vellum doilies, and this one I only have a small portion left and I need to cut off an edge, so this one is great. I'm also using some basic white, and I've cut the die from the Painted Labels dies for that. We could have used the rectangle also, but I chose to use a circle on this one. My card base is our polished pink new in color for 2021 to 2023. Our next layer is mint macaron, and it measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. Then I have a layer of polished pink that measures 2 1/8 by 4 5/8. And then here comes our designer series paper, and it measures 2 by 4 1/2. So my reveal on my pieces are only an 1/8 inch larger. Then I have another piece of polished pink that's 1 1/8 by 4, and then another piece from the Expressions in Ink specialty paper that measures 1 by 4 inches. And then for the inside of my card, I have a piece of basic white that measures 4 by 5 1/4. So what do you say? Let's get stamping. So I have this die, and I'm going to be stamping our girl in the center of it, but I do not want to stamp on the outer edge. So I am just going to curve this a little bit, and I just have a scrap piece of paper. We're just going to curve it a little bit just to avoid some color on these outside edges of this circle. And I want to go all the way up to the stitched. And I'm going to get a little bit on the outside of it, but I'm okay with that. We're going to stamp her in Memento ink. Now, if you don't have the Hey Girlfriend stamp set, you could really use any stamp set with this layout. You could use a floral, you could use trucks, fish, just the possibilities are endless. But like I said, I am loving these images in this set. Just stamp her right in the center, give it good pressure. I want a good image. There we go. And we didn't get any on the outside. Okay, I am going to grab some of my Stampin' Blends. So I have my ivory, I have my light and dark polished pink, I have light and dark mint macaron, I have some light and dark Daffodil Delight, the light soft suede for the hair, crumb cake for the hair, and then I also, oops, wait a minute, I have this one is actually Light Flirty Flamingo. I will be using that for the lips and the cheeks. And I did pull out my old Olive Stampin' Blend just in case. And then, of course, my color lifter. So let's get coloring. I am going to zoom in for this so you can see as I color. Zoom in, not out. There we go. So you'll be able to watch how I color her. So I am going to start with my dark polished pink. And I want to do part of her headband down here, giving it a little bit of color in the shadow areas, and the same thing on the flower. I'm just dabbing some color because these are small images. I also want to make her skirt pink. So we are going to go ahead and color those pleats and below her belt just to give it the shadowing. Now we're going to go in with our light polish pink and finish coloring these images. Now I'm starting in my dark polished pink and bringing that color up, blending it up on that headband. Same thing on the other side. And I am going to leave a little white line just for some highlights and depth to my image. Now this flower is pretty pink. So now we are going to go to our dress or our skirt. Actually, she's wearing a dress and I'm actually going to make it a skirt. And you will see that I have some white marks in there, and that I'm doing on purpose. And I'm going to go back over and saturate my paper just like that. Okay, next let's do her top. I want her top to be green because I want it to coordinate with the colors. So I am going to go ahead and take my light mint macaron and just go around her top. I do need to put some dark mint macaron on here just to give it a little bit of 3D. Okay, and her belt is going to be dark mint macaron, and this is where I said I may be using a little bit of the old olive, and I do think I'm going to, just to give it a little bit of depth and let it mix. Okay, I'm going to take my light mint macaron and go back over to blend some of that color and give it some depth. Just like that. Okay, next is her face and her arms. So we are going to go for our ivory. We also have a bronze for darker skins, and you can combine the two to create the skin that you want. Okay, I'm going around her lips and around her eyes, and a little bit around her hair. Okay, now that is the first layer. Now let's get our light flirty flamingo for her cheeks. So we're just going to add a little bit of pink right here, a little bit of blush pink on her cheeks and her lips. We may end up doing her lips a little bit darker. See how they come out. Yeah, it looks like my flirty flamingo needs to be replaced. So let me try the brush tip. Sometimes when the other tip doesn't work, we still have some ink in the brush tip. So I'm going to go ahead into my light polished pink and give her a little bit pinker lips. Just dabbing it a little bit. Okay, her eyes, I do want old olive, so we're going to give her green eyes. And just a light touch is all we need for her eyes. Okay, let's get going into her hair. And I am going to be using my color lifter a little bit. Now, I do want her hair to be brown, but I am going to start with the light Daffodil Delight. And I am going to take the brush tip because my light Daffodil Delight is also running out of ink. How you can tell when it's running out of ink when you color, you don't get a lot of color out. So it's time to replace them. And I'm just doing little squiggly lines. Now I'm going to take my light soft suede and the bullet tip. And I am going to start down here and just give it a little bit of shading around her headband and her neck area. Not much, it's just a couple dabs. Okay, and then I'm just going to scribble. And you don't have to stay within the lines of the hair, just scribble. No rhyme or reason. You don't want this all to blend completely. So now I'm going to take my light crumb cake and I'm going to add a little bit more brown. And once again, I'm just scribbling. Okay, you're going to have some of that Daffodil Delight coming through, and that's okay because our hair has low lights and highlights. Now, if you want your hair a little bit darker, you can go back to your soft suede and add a little bit more in there, which I am doing. And I am just doing squiggles. I am not shading this a whole heck of a lot. With curly hair, I really don't want to shade it. And our girl is almost done. I am going to take my color lifter and go on her skirt, and right where I left those white spots, I'm going to go across. Now I'm actually lifting some color up and at the same time blending some color into those white spots. And as it dries, you are going to see that it's a little bit lighter there. Okay, we do need a little bit of a buckle. She has a buckle, so I'm just taking very lightly the brush tip of my soft suede and going around that buckle very, very lightly. And you know what? I want a little bit more green color on her dress, so I am going to go around with the dark mint macaron, and then again with the light, blending that in just a little bit, still leaving that white spot in the middle. Okay, so she's done, but we're not done with this yet. I am going to pull over a piece of scrap paper, and we are going to add some color around this die. And we're going to do that with our blending brush. So let me fold this, and I was trying to decide what color I was going to use, and I actually think that I want to use the, So I want to use the Magenta Madness. So I am going to pull this out a little bit, just like that. So we have this in our Magenta Madness. I'm going to open that up, grab my pink blending brush, and just put it into this ink that's in the lid. And just spread that around a little bit. Okay, and I'm just going to brush that around the circle, being careful not to get on the inner circle. And this is going to be uneven, and that's okay. That's actually what I want. In fact, I may go over some spots to make it just a little bit darker. So just blend across, and then you can go over the top of what you've already done, pick up some more color. So this is going to be a variegated color around the edge. Okay, so a little bit more over here. These blending brushes make this so easy. They're soft. You can control it by the pressure on the head of the brush. And these are the perfect size. They're not too small and not too big. Okay, so there is our little girl. So let's start putting this card together. So we've got our card base. And then we have our mint macaron. Let's take our Stampin' Seal and put that on here. I will also be putting the measurements up as I speak and tell them in the video. Okay, and just rub that. Okay, we're going to be putting this Designer Series paper. Once again, that measures 2 by 4.5 inches. Making sure I get enough adhesive on here. Let's add that. Don't you just love this? Hey, it makes it so watercoloring so easy, this paper. People are amazed when they use this paper. And how did you get that effect? It's really easy. It's paper. So it makes a true artist out of you for those of you who have difficulty with your watercoloring. This I'm just laying right down the center. I'm only going to have a border on the top and the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to grab out my doily. And like I said, I only need the bottom edge here. If you have little chads left in there, just take your finger and rub across it. I'm actually going to make this a little bit bigger than I need it so that I have enough playroom. So we are going to add this right to our card front. Like I said, this is a great layout to use for many, many different cards. Okay, I just did that wrong. I want it up a little bit because I am going to be putting some embellishments. So make your top reveal the same as your side reveal and you'll be okay. I'm using pearls. So now I want to lay this on here, and I am going to put this so that it's more to the right side. So I want this, more of this pale papaya showing, so I'm going to put it along this bottom edge. So I'm going to go ahead and put my adhesive all the way across and then decide how much of a reveal I want. And this would be totally up to you, and I think that that is just enough. So I went up 1 scallop with that. I'm going to go ahead and add some more adhesive, and let's put this up a little bit. Okay, now we've got to put our girl on here. So we are going to use some dimensionals to add her. So got some big ones and some minis. We're going to use the big ones. We're going to make sure that we have enough of them on here to hold her up and give it dimension. Okay, my favorite tool, the Take Your Pick tool, to take those chads off of there and put them in my honey pot so they're not all over. This one is stubborn and doesn't want to come off. Okay, let's put her right here, and look how that Magenta Madness just brightens her up there. Okay, now our sentiment. We are going to do Hey Girlfriend. And let me find it. Look on this side right here. And grab our block, and I'm going to be stamping this with Memento ink also. So all we used was Memento ink and our blends in this card. And we are going to put that in the lower right hand corner, just like that. Okay, let's grab our pearls and add some pearls to this. So I'm going to add 3 pearls along the bottom, and I do the first one and then the last one, and then I center the medium one. I find putting your pearls on or your embellishments on when you put them in 3, easier to do that way. We're going to put a little pearl in the middle of her flower also. Okay. Now if you wanted to give her some eyeshadow, you could have used a little bit of green eyeshadow, but I chose not to for her. So we need to do the inside. So let's grab our little puppy and we will stamp that in Memento, because you know we need to do the inside of our cards as well as our envelopes. Put him right down there. Take our light soft suede and just give him a little bit of dark color right around. Let's give him dark ears too. Okay, we have a little heart tag. We're going to go ahead and use the brush tip. I like using the brush tip just for these really small places. It seems to get in them better. And then we're going to take our light crumb cake and blend that out. And just color on the bottom, leaving a little bit of white again for some shadowing and dimension on him. Okay, there we go. Let's blend that in just a little bit more, and let's give him some ground that he's walking on. And on the inside, so we got, hey girlfriend, kindness touches my heart. So we're going to put that on here. Not your girlfriend. Oh my gosh. Crazy, huh? So we are going to stamp that in the center. Just like that. And then let's go ahead and secure that to the inside of our card. Now just imagine, this is a great card to use, layout to use with your scraps of cardstock. In fact, that's exactly what I used. I used some scraps of cardstock and designer series paper. So you could sit and make, dozens of these cards with different papers and even different stamps or the same stamp and have them all look differently. I hope you enjoyed this card today, and all the products are available in my online store. Until next time, everybody, happy stamping!